The day I miscarried, Julian happened to be passing the ward, escorting his secretary for her prenatal checkup. Cramps knifed through my lower abdomen, the rescue gurney sheet glared crimson. At the instant we crossed paths, he lifted a hand to shield her eyes, voice indifferent. "Don't look. It's dirty." That night he came home and slid the divorce papers across the table. Sign. "The kid's mom has morning sickness, go easy on her. Oh, and she's young, doesn't know the ropes. Take the time to coach her." I smiled, said okay, signed with a steady hand, then turned and dialed. "Advisor, I'm in. I can fly to Aurelia next week and join the team." When the call ended, he walked in from the balcony. "Who was that?" he asked without looking up from his phone, not a second's glance my way. "My advisor." I told him the truth. He gave a soft same as always, careful indifference. I said nothing more, slipped my glasses on, and started booking my ticket. Maybe my silence caught his eye. His cool gaze finally settled on me. "The doctor says your system's weak. I'll have Mrs. Johnson brew some tonic tomorrow. Don't get upset, and stay off cold drinks." I nodded, then lapsed into quiet. He opened his mouth to add something when his phone buzzed. The faint smile that tugged at his lips told me he was heading to the study, the room I'd been barred from since last week, because I'd found Mia's photos inside. Everything last February's Valentine couple shot to last weekend's picnic. My husband's drawer was stuffed with pictures of another woman. The moment the bedroom door shut, a dull ache flared in my abdomen again. This baby had been hard one, I'd guarded every step. But the afternoon cramp had struck out of nowhere. The hospital was far. I rang Julian again and again, no answer. Turned out he was at Mia's prenatal appointment. The doctor apologized. If I'd arrived sooner, the child could have been saved. My phone lit. Mia. Expecting her stats file, I opened it and saw an 8-week ultrasound. Something stabbed at my heart, my finger froze mid-tap. "Sorry, Serena, wrong pic." She deleted it instantly and resent the correct table. Businesslike, I scanned the new file. "No problem, but the figures are sloppy. Please redo." Minutes later, Julian posted that same ultrasound on Instagram, green lights all the way. A cascade of congratulations followed. Bitterness welled. I added my own congrats and logged off. The bedroom door swung open. "Serena, you enjoy making her life hard? Why are you always on her case?" Baffled, I looked up. He thrust his phone at me. Mia had run to him, claiming I'd bullied her. I lowered my gaze. "The date is sloppy. Mr. Vance can judge for himself." The formal title caught him off guard, the fire in his eyes guttered. He hesitated, then gentled his voice. "You need to heal, don't get mad. At the office this week, don't stoop to her level. Tomorrow's retreat, she hates spicy food, loves anything sweet." He rattled off her likes and dislikes. I listened, irony twisting my stomach. 5 years married, and he'd forgotten what I eat. Watching this man tally another girl's preferences, I laughed. "Do you even remember what I like?" His smile cracked into impatience. "Why drag that up again?" I wiped my tears, laughed through them. Realizing the patient man I'd married was gone, I let it drop. "I'll handle it." Next morning at the door he said, "I'm off. Because of our public profiles, we never commute together." I gave a soft eyes on my coffee. Maybe my mood showed. He offered to stay. "I'll rest here with you today. I'll brief Mia from home, she's improving faster than ever." He didn't notice how effortlessly his secretary hijacked the conversation. A call came, his face darkened. "Urgent, back later." He left without a backward glance. At Vance, coworkers huddled over gossip. "Think the boss will divorce Serena for Mia?" Wouldn't put it past him. This morning she spilled coffee on her hand and he rushed her to the ER. A pang. I slid into my seat. Few knew Julian and I were married. My resignation sailed through. Leaving HR, I met Julian escorting Mia, his arm around her waist. He let go instantly. "Why aren't you home resting?" Before I spoke, Mia chirped, "Serena just had surgery and she's already grinding?" I'm such a klutz. Thank goodness Julian's patient while we revise pitches. "But Serena, your hubby worries. He's swamped as it is." Julian's eyes chilled, concern flipped to reproach. "Running yourself ragged won't earn my pity. Grow up, Serena." Words caught in my throat, I swallowed them. Dusk fell before my phone buzzed. "Julian, downstairs." "Right, the retreat." His car idled, I reached for the passenger door. The window slid down, Mia's bright smile framed inside. "You're here, Serena." Seeing my silence, she drooped like a scolded kid. You're not mad, are you? I get carsick, Julian said up front helps, she squirmed. I can move, I cut in before he could speak. It's fine, seats are equal now, love gone, any seat will do. I opened the rear door and climbed inside. Julian glanced back at me, on the verge of saying something, then finally drove off. At the table everyone played a drinking game, lose and you drink. When it was Mia's turn to lose, the man. Oh, I forgot. The coworkers around us started hooting, the boss is so good to Mia. Seriously, I'm dying of envy. Mia lowered her head with a shy little smile, tucking her hair behind her ear. The instant she looked up she stared straight at me, bold and, it was totally different from the timid, careful girl who had first met me at the office. From the respectful Serena every other word to the blunt, the one who isn't loved is the real third wheel. A man's unbridled, immature love had become the entire confidence of a girl fresh out of college. For a moment I couldn't tell whether this was affection or deadly poison. I looked at Julian and smiled. President Vance is so considerate to his employees. Mia answered, tone dissatisfied. President Vance only drank 2 shots for me. Why is Serena being so snide? Or is there something about my work that displeases you? You can say it straight. Feigning magnanimity, Mia spoke brightly, yet her voice carried a hint of grievance that made people ache for her. One by one the coworkers began defending her, muttering against me. Serena, are you drunk? I think she's jealous. Watching Julian's practiced gesture as he drank her shot, the familiar scene tugged at my memory. In a daze I realized the clues had been there all along. Little girl can't hold her liquor, I'll drink for her. When Mia first joined Vance, I personally took her on client calls. Every single time Julian insisted on tagging along, back then I even complained he was clingy. I don't feel easy about you. Serena, let me come with you, okay? Unable to withstand his soft pestering, I gave in. Looking back it's laughable, isn't it? Saying he wanted to accompany me when what he really meant was he didn't trust me, afraid I'd deliberately make things hard for Mia. Yet when he shielded her at the table he never even glanced my way. I must have felt upset even then. I told myself I was being petty, but I still couldn't resist joking. How come you only drink for Mia? Help me with a couple too. He stared at me, startled, then laughed, casual and breezy. Little girl can't hold her liquor, she's not like you. You're different. Serena, you don't get drunk. Serena, you don't get drunk. Really? I stared at the glass in front of me, suddenly unable to remember when I had changed from one sip turning my face red to the astonishing capacity I had now. Back then, to land contracts, I drank my way through meetings like my life depended on it. I remember one night I drank until my stomach bled and ended up in the ER. The ward was full, they parked me in the corridor, freezing, hands and feet like ice. Julian knelt beside my gurney in that public hallway, hugging me, weeping with guilt, swearing he would make a good life for me someday. When he said it, I never doubted his sincerity, just as now, when he no longer loves, I can feel that clearly too. Thinking of this my eyes stung. The liquor in the cup burned, tears slid down unbidden. Mia suddenly looked at me and said, Hey, Serena, your ring is gorgeous, where'd you buy it? A flicker of panic crossed Julian's eyes. Before he could hide it, I had already seen. The spot where the wedding band should have been was empty. In our broke days we hadn't held a ceremony, and he always felt he owed me. So the first money he earned he spent on this pair of rings, presenting them to me like a treasure on my birthday night. I burst into tears, calling him foolish, telling him money wasn't meant to be used that way. But he asked me seriously, are you happy? I was stunned, and he asked again, Serena, are you happy? I choked, unable to speak, but finally nodded. Happy. Then Julian smiled. He stepped forward, gently kissed my tears away, slipped the ring onto my finger, and I heard him say, Serena, I just want you to be happy. With me, I never want you to feel wronged. While he tangled with Mia, haven't the people around me had their fill of laughing at me? Every nasty rumor about Mia at Vance, he swatted away without hesitation. Yet he still refused to publicly acknowledge that I was his wife. Julian, feel your heart and answer, haven't you made me feel wronged enough? True feelings are hard to guard, the promise of that year has fallen away along with the ring. If he can cast off 7 years so lightly, what is there that I can't let go of? Smiling, I slid the ring off and placed it in front of Mia right under Julian's gaze. It's nothing important. If you like it, it's yours. The man's face turned dark at once. Citing a headache, I left early. The moment I stepped out of the room, I heard Julian's angry shout behind me, "Serena!" He chased after me. I had to stop. Eyes blazing, he demanded, "Why did you give our ring away like that? Just because I can't remember what food you like, you throw a tantrum?" I didn't. Facing my flat, indifferent tone, Julian felt as if he'd punched cotton. Where was the Serena who used to pout and cajole? So his voice softened a notch. Didn't you keep saying you wanted to try that restaurant? I got us a table. Tomorrow I'll take you. Fine, I answered, indifferent. His eyes darkened. He slipped the ring back on my finger, took off his coat and draped it over my shoulders, his tone returning to its old gentleness. Let's go home. For a moment I almost believed he was the Julian of the past. Then a coworker poked his head out. "President Vance, Mia seems drunk, she's throwing a fit asking you to take her home." Julian hesitated. Before he could speak, I pulled the coat off and thrust it back at him. "I'll get back myself." I turned and walked away without looking back, tossing the ring into the corner trash can. The next day at the restaurant, the food really was good. Julian suddenly produced a pink diamond necklace, the one I'd once mentioned. At the time he'd looked surprised. "Serena, you're 30, why do you still like things like a little girl?" Seeing my lack of reaction, he was puzzled. "You used to love it," I answered idly. "I don't anymore." After a pause, Julian got up and went to the restroom. His phone, left on the table, lit up. Mia had sent several selfies from different angles. "Help me pick, which one looks best?" "Ugh, the necklace you gave me is too pretty, I can't choose." He had given Mia the same necklace he gave me, only hers came with the complete set. When he came back, the food was almost cold, his eyes still glued to the screen. "If you're busy, go ahead," he finally snapped out of it, pocketing the phone with a smile. "It's nothing. I'll spend today with you." I didn't say anything else. A voice suddenly rang out behind me. "Julian, so you promised to treat me to lunch but didn't even call me." Mia pulled out a chair and sat down as naturally as breathing. Julian chuckled, his gaze honey soft. "Aren't you the one with no appetite?" "I have no appetite, but I can sit here and keep you company." My fork froze. I looked at Julian. So Mia had wanted to come, she'd stayed home because she wasn't feeling well, and that was why he'd suddenly remembered me. But I no longer expected anything from him, so how could I be disappointed? After lunch, Mia dragged him to the mall. It happened to be Valentine's Day, and the stores were handing out free roses to couples. "Those flowers are gorgeous, I want one." Mia tugged Julian toward the booth. I stayed where I was and watched him walk away without once looking back. When he finally returned with a single rose, he couldn't find me anywhere. That night my plane touched down in Aurelia, and Lindsay texted, "Serena, did something happen?" She was one of the very few at Vance who knew Julian and I were married. Before I could answer, 2 more messages popped up. "Where did you go?" "The CEO's on a warpath tonight, rumor is it's about Mia." I was still wondering how to reply when Lindsay sent a photo. In it, a porcelain figurine lay in pieces on the carpet. Everyone at corporate HQ knew Julian kept a pair of those dolls in his office. The one Mia had accidentally smashed was mine. Lindsay said the episode ended with Mia slicing her finger while cleaning up and Julian nearly sick with worry. I thanked Lindsay and turned off my phone, the irony bitter on my tongue. Those dolls had stood on his desk for as many years as Julian had loved me. He no longer loved me, yet he still put on a show. When Julian came back from bandaging Mia's finger, he caught sight of the remaining doll while sorting files that afternoon. He frowned, then opened the bottom drawer and tucked it inside. So the next time Serena visited his office, she wouldn't ask awkward questions. Mia whined that her workload was crushing her. Without a second thought, Julian forwarded every last task to me. Let Serena handle it. But the next several days he never ran into Serena anywhere, neither at the penthouse nor at Vance. She hadn't even texted him. At first the breathing room felt good, yet before a week was up he felt off balance. That evening, back at the restaurant with Mia, he finally cracked and sent a message. "It's getting cold, remember to dress warm." He checked his phone every few seconds. 3 minutes, no reply. In the past, no matter how busy she was, Serena had always answered instantly. His thumb drifted upward through their chat history, and a strange hollowness opened in his chest. Most of the bubbles were hers, his own replies were rare. Across the table, Mia grumbled, "The food's getting cold, are you still texting? Is your phone prettier than I am?" Another half hour slipped by, the meal was almost finished and still nothing. He hesitated, then typed again. "Coming home tonight?" The lab had been insane, I didn't see the messages until after my shower. "Still mad?" "I'm not mad. That was the truth. You've been avoiding me." He sounded certain, I almost laughed out loud. "I'm in another country, hardly playing hide and seek." "Stop it, Serena. How long are you going to keep this up?" Probably thinking my reply meant surrender, he lapsed into that lofty tone I could picture all too well. I gave a soft, cold laugh and powered the phone off. Over the next few days, Julian kept messaging. Lab work consumed me. I either left his texts on read or answered with icy brevity. Finally, deciding the cold shoulder was no fun, he stopped. "Serena, I'm really angry this time. Think it over." I still didn't answer. As if slamming a door, he wrote, "I'm taking Mia on a business trip. Unless it's urgent, don't contact me." Exactly what I wanted. Yet the so-called business trip filled Mia's Instagram with 7 or 8 daily posts, beach selfies, gourmet shots, even the two of them painting matching dolls in the same craft stall Julian and I had once visited. I felt nothing. Once I even accidentally hit like. Seconds later my phone rang. "Serena, you're doing this on purpose to spite me, right?" I was brushing my teeth and said nothing. "Tell me where you are, I'll drive over and bring you home." "No need." His voice turned arctic. "You know my patience has limits." The line went dead. Julian iced me out for a few more days, certain I'd come crawling back. But when he walked into the penthouse after work, the familiar figure still wasn't there. Nothing had been touched, dust filmed the dining table. Even the single white gardenia in the vase was the one left from the morning of our last fight, now wilted and rotting. Mrs. Liu hurried to replace it, yet Julian felt only restless irritation. He lifted his phone to call Serena, then set it down again and asked, "Has the missus been home lately?" Mrs. Liu blinked. "Madam said she had a business trip to the next state, she'd be gone a few days." "Didn't she tell you, sir?" Julian's brow creased, she hadn't. Still, the news that Serena was merely away on business eased him. Chase had flown back to Riverdale a couple of days earlier, and they'd agreed to meet tonight. With Serena gone, Julian brought Mia along. The moment they arrived, the others traded glances but kept silent. Chase studied Mia for a beat, then invited everyone to sit. Midway through the meal, one of the guys, half drunk, blurted, "Where's Serena?" Used to be wherever Julian was, Serena was too. Someone kicked him under the table, he didn't notice. "Don't tell me Serena dumped you, man?" Mia's smile stiffened. She glanced at Julian and spoke sweetly. "Serena's off sulking somewhere. We're all friends, if you see her, talk some sense into her. Julian works so hard, tell her to stop throwing tantrums." The fact that Julian had shown up with Mia instead of Serena had already unsettled the table. Mia's little speech froze the air completely. Chase swirled his wine, eyes narrowing. Julian had seemed absent since the moment he walked in, untouched by the conversation. Mia, feeling the chill, aimed a plaintive look at him. Only then did he rouse himself and speak softly. "She's on a business trip to the next city, back in a couple of days." The tone was so flat it sounded as if Serena were merely an ordinary employee on assignment, not his wife. Chase set his glass down with a click. "That doesn't add up. I flew in 2 days ago and ran into her at the airport. When I said hi, she looked, well." He frowned again. "Besides, who takes a plane to the next city?" The comment hit like cold water. Julian wondered why he hadn't realized it himself. Why would anyone fly to the next city? Alarm finally crept into his voice. "When, exactly, did you see Serena, and at which airport?" Catching his friend's sudden urgency, Chase hesitated. 6 days ago. Riverdale." Julian grabbed his coat and strode out without a backward glance. Mia called after him but couldn't stop him. Clutching her purse, she hurried in his wake. He yanked the car door open and started dialing. 3 times in a row the message rang, "Number no longer in service." Each echo hurled his heart deeper into an ice cellar. Not only were calls blocked, he had been deleted from WhatsApp, too. Only now, days after Serena's disappearance, did Julian feel the first surge of helpless panic. In the passenger seat, Mia twirled a lock of hair and, as usual, vented to Julian. "Serena is being so childish." She didn't notice the faint twitch of irritation that flashed in his eyes. "In this heat you're driving everywhere looking for her. You'd think she'd show a little consideration." Julian slammed the brakes. Mia gave a soft yelp. His voice was low and cold. Whatever she's done, it's not your place to comment. Eyes wide, Mia stared in stunned disbelief. In all their time together, Julian had never spoken to her like that. Before, when she mocked Serena's taste or personality, he had always soothed her. Yes, you're younger. Don't stoop to her level, okay? Tears of grievance shimmered in her eyes, but his frown only deepened as he ordered, move to the back. Mia opened her mouth, then bit her lip and climbed into the rear seat. Julian reached Vance headquarters and found Serena's desk bare. He barged through his corner office, grilling everyone in sight. Where's Serena? Where did she go on business? When is she coming back? The staff held their breath. No one wanted to cross him in this mood. Lindsay returned from lunch and walked straight into the scene. She felt a pang of injustice for Serena. Rolling her eyes, she stepped forward, calm and level. Mr. Vance, Serena resigned last week. Didn't you know? The usually composed CEO swayed, almost losing his footing. Julian looked frantic, disbelieving. What did you say? Who approved her resignation? The HR department didn't dare breathe. Never had Julian appeared so disheveled, so rattled. He couldn't accept that Serena had walked away so cleanly. Back at the penthouse, he tore through every corner, hunting for anything that belonged to her. He even found the wedding band he had tossed into a drawer, a relic that briefly reassured him she still cared. Yet the more he tried to deceive himself, the clearer the truth became, especially about feelings. When he finally uncovered the divorce papers, a deathly silence settled over him. Serena had given one last bitter smile and asked, Julian, do you really want me to sign? Impatient, he had shoved the pen toward her. Just sign it. I'm only placating the girl. Julian's breath came in ragged gasps. He leaned on the sofa to steady himself. How heartbroken Serena must have been. Word from friends back home reached me. Julian had scoured the city like a madman looking for any trace of me. He flipped the entire capital upside down but uncovered nothing. Someone must have leaked my whereabouts. That night, after work, Senior drove me home. Beneath a street lamp I spotted a familiar silhouette. Serena? Is it really you, Serena? The instant he saw me, his dull eyes lit up. Dark smudges beneath them said he hadn't slept in days. But that was no longer my concern. Senior and I walked up together. Julian's gaze sharpened dangerously. Who is he? I answered, none of your business. I told Senior to go ahead, I could handle this. Before leaving he gave me a worried glance. Call me if you need anything. My phone is always on. The air around Julian crackled with hostility. Casey, he pulled me into his arms. Serena, do you know how long I've searched for you? Stop punishing me, please? The cloying perfume clinging to his suit turned my stomach. I shoved him away and stepped back. Sensing the distance, his face twisted in hurt. Serena, you've lost so much weight. I said nothing. He lifted his hand. Look, Serena, our ring. I didn't lose it. I tried to free my wrist from his grip, I couldn't. What do you want? His gaze fell on my bare right hand, accusing. Where's your ring? Impatient, I replied, thrown away. This time he was the patient one. That's fine, Serena. I'll have a unique new pair designed. Pick whatever style you like. We'll decide together once we're home. He seemed to have pages to read to me, but none were necessary. I looked down, smiled, then raised my eyes and cut him off. Julian, when the heart changes, what's the use of one-of-a-kind trinkets? I had never seen Julian look so shattered. Yet who could tell how much was real and how much was theater? Julian, who exactly are you performing for? I shook off his hand, went inside, and left him standing in the dark. After midnight a heavy rain began. Cough, cough. The muffled hacking outside kept me tossing and turning. I threw on a robe and opened the door. The figure slumped against the wall, straightened, startled I had appeared. Serena? Hand pressed to his lips, Julian apologized. Did I wake you? Inside, he sat on the sofa while I rummaged for cold medicine. Wrapped in a throw like a child, he kept asking, Serena, you still care, don't you? I ignored him until the questions grated, then I shoved the pills and water at him along with the words, Julian, aren't you too old for this? The sentence flew back at him like a blade, silencing him. I went to rinse the cup, he seized my wrist and tugged me into his arms. Rain lashed the windows. I felt hot tears on my neck as his voice shook. Serena, I'm sorry, it was all my fault. Give me one more chance. Come back, please come back. The phone on the table rang abruptly. Caller ID, Mia. The ringtone sliced through the quiet living room, impossible to ignore. Julian's expression tightened. I said, answer. Through the receiver, she sobbed and begged, the Meridian's lost power, I'm terrified. Please come be with me. Julian muttered, I'm abroad, and hung up. Moments later Lindsay called. I'm furious, check the group chat, now. She's spamming nonsense, flipping black to white. I had muted the work chat ages ago and forgotten to delete it after leaving Cameron. When I opened it, I saw Me.He had at me like crazy. She accused me of bullying new hires at Vance. She even posted our divorce papers and my ultrasound printout. Claimed I'd divorced Julian but still blocked him from marrying her. Went as far as branding me the other woman. Serena, cat got your tongue? You splashed hot coffee on me, mocked me, where's that sass now? Me.He seemed ready to burn the world to drag me down. Busybody colleagues leaked the messages online, and keyboard warriors swarmed to her defense. That same night, netizens tracked my Aurelian address. They splashed through rain to dump trash at my door, hurl stones at my windows. Police finally scattered them. Julian looked wrecked. I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you. I'll fix this. The outrage kept swelling. For my safety, my advisor urged me to return home until it cooled. Julian and I booked the first flight back that night to manage the fallout. Because of his fame, the trending tabloid headline refused to budge. Every insult bullseyed me alone. Vance threw money at the platforms to bury the hashtag, but still it burned. Me.He sent a voice note, Serena, you lose. Gloating, she added, what were you even fighting me for? There seemed no way out. Then, half a day into the meltdown, one sharp-eyed comment appeared, wait, this report looks fake. Someone shot back, nice try at whitewashing. She retorted, I've delivered 2 kids, I know an ultrasound printout. That sheet is bogus. Me.He had never been pregnant. In an instant, the tide reversed. Like me, Julian loathes being lied to. The second he learned the printout was counterfeit, the scale of his own stupidity crashed over him. He realized he'd always loved Serena. We didn't sleep that night. At dawn we returned, briefly, to the penthouse. Julian almost looked happy. He'd texted Mrs. Liu to stock the kitchen while we were still en route. Buy extra, Madam loves. I turned my face to the window. At the table he shelled shrimp, ladled vegetables into my bowl. I never lifted my chopsticks. I remember this was your favorite. Remembering now means nothing. I cut him off. Mr. Vance, we're divorced. Julian froze. I slid the folder across the table. You told me to sign the divorce papers, remember? He visibly panicked, words tangling into nonsense. Serena, what are you saying? You came home. We even picked a date with the jeweler. He flies in next week. I shut my eyes. Julian, I'm done with you. She no longer wanted him. Silence settled. Only then did it hit him, she really was finished, and his eyes reddened. He snatched the divorce papers and shredded them wildly. No. Who said anything about divorce? Serena, who gave you permission to divorce me? I tugged my skirt free of his fist. Julian, we're adults, leave some dignity. Stop this tantrum. I'd booked a flight back to Aurelia for that afternoon when a knock sounded. Me.He, black cap low, hair curtaining her cheeks, eyes hidden. Whinnying, can we talk? We have nothing to discuss. I moved to shut the door, she exploded against it with insane strength. Before I could react she rammed me to the floor. She whipped out a paring knife and stabbed down. Watch out. Julian lunged, taking the blade. Serena, as long as you're safe. He hurled Me.He aside, the knife clattered 10 feet away. Serena, you ruined me. You ruined everything. She screamed herself hoarse, hatred blazing. Pressing on Julian's wound, I dialed 911. Me.He cracked, tears mixing with rage. My mom's surgery bill, what am I supposed to do now? When Me.He first joined Vance I mentored her because her resume sparkled and she hustled. I give rookies like her extra chances. But she chose the low road. Police rolled up with the ambulance. After Julian was loaded aboard, I told her only one thing. Shortcuts aren't for everyone, Me.He. You're still young. She gaped, then laughed through tears as the cops led her off. I followed to the hospital. Once the doctor confirmed no vital damage, I was free. I owed him nothing. My flight remained on the books that afternoon. At the doorway his rasping voice stopped me. Serena, is there really no going back? I didn't turn. If you ever cared, let me live in peace. He fell silent, just watching. At the threshold he finally spoke. All right, Serena, be happy. I stepped into the corridor. I will. Back in Aurelia, my advisor handed me 2 flagship projects. The experience stacked up. Now 3 target firms have sent invitations. Next Tuesday I start at one of them. Weeks later Lindsay told me in passing. After the scandal, Me.He voluntarily resigned and vanished. Julian's health has kept him away from Vance for months. I answered evenly, unmoved. Good for him. I've landed a major campaign, enough to keep me busy for ages. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you enjoyed it, please hit like and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.